All right. So there are two movements of Maya. One is a lower, so to say, from the involutionary movement perspective, and other is from involutionary. Yes, and both are Mayas. One is creating the diversity out of one being, out of the divine existence, and other is concerned in finding the unity, yeah, from this diversity. And both movements are Maya's movements. One is coming from the embodied soul, which is seeking its oneness with the divine, and has to overcome this Maya, this diversity, in some way. And the other movement is from above, which has to overcome this Maya, seeing everywhere the divine. And not non-divine, so to say. So in both cases, it is the same force, but creates completely different two attitudes. But
if Maya means to measure out, or to, Nama and Rupa, to make finite that which is infinite, how is it that the first example, of manifestation of all that's around us being evidence of measuring out with name and form, but I don't see how the second Maya of finding that divine, it's sort of, I was trying to think, well, does that mean that the other way it's measuring is to try to seek out or measure the infinite within the finite? In other words, one is measuring out the finite within the infinite, and is the other Maya, the other measuring, just the inverse then? I guess that can be thought of, that can tie back to Ma being to measure out. Is that correct?
Yeah, well,
You don't say.
Well, I'm thinking to what you're correct to apply, to attach. It depends what is, everything what you said, yes? Is it that correct? Yes. In general, yes. There are two movements, and in general, yes. But we have to look in particular. These two movements create...
Yeah, but what I was focusing on is the ma.
The transparent etymology of it.
All right.
I understand how one movement measures out, because we're making finite form and name of the infinite. So how does the other movement measure out? And is that measuring more, measuring out the infinite within the finite?
The illusion of the second movement consists in that is a part of that measuring is taken with regard to the form. If you start measuring infinite diversity of forms, we will arrive at nowhere, yes? And that is a very good protection for the divine, you see. We can always seek it and never find it, so to say, because there are infinite representatives of the divine already in the form. What we have to do in the second movement is to overcome that diversity.
Well, I think the illusion of that second measuring is that there is some place there is a movement at all, because it's not like you have to go anywhere to uncover the divine in the infinite in the point, because it's everything, it's its essential nature. It's there already, and there's no going anywhere that needs to be done, or there's no movement. That is the illusion, is that you have to seek for it, and that you have to do something for it. And of course you do. and that's the Maya. You do have to, but it's there already, and it's like looking for your glasses when they're on your face.
Right.
But I guess my question is coming, and maybe this is just really, really basic. If we're calling both Maya, and Maya means to measure out,
one of the things it means.
How is that measuring being done in the second movement we're talking about?
Well, here we come to this very Maya thing, because Maya and Man root is also the same. We are thinking out how this will be, and we want to know exactly where is that Ma applies to that exact moment.
That's right. That's where the full brain went.
I want to see that cutting edge. Why are you telling me all this? Yes, I'm kind of a little bit started to think whether we speak the same language even, do we speak on the same kind of thinking in the same way? Maybe we should go through one time just to see whether we have the background. And once we have it, we will get our answers, I'm sure. And I will tell you where the second Maya, we will discover it. You will tell me, by the way, not I. So, this what Sri Aurobindo says here, that this power was known to the Vedic seers by. Would you like somebody else to read? You have it's your native tongue, so you can do it better than me, if you like. Do you see it, by the way? Because I am reading a little. Of course, I will put my own emphasis. Yeah.
Why don't you read that, Rade?
Okay. I prefer not to. I mean, I listen and think as you say the words, because I get too caught up in the reading and not in the reflection when I read.
I agree. So then you have to suffer my reading. This power was known to the Vedic seers by the name of Maya. Maya meant for them the power of infinite consciousness to comprehend. Now, when we say to comprehend, it means to understand, to know deeply, to know in the supramental sense, in Vijnana sense, to know the whole set of things, all the details, all the properties, all the relations of this particular representative or self to all other selves and representatives. It's that infinite power which can infinitely comprehend what is going on, contain in itself and measure out. So it's not only measuring out, it's also comprehending, containing in itself, and then measuring out, shaping it into some kind of form or separate existence. That is to say, to form, for form is delimitation. Name and shape, nama and rupa, out of the vast illimitable truth of infinite existence. So there will be drawn particular forms like mosaic of all this world with all these shapes and particular names behind them, particular comprehensive movements of consciousness interrelated into oneness of this reality, holding one another and understanding one another as such.
But Vladimir, may I ask, isn't it that very thing that you just described, that Nama and the Rupa and the unbounded kaleidoscope of interactions of creation, that the gods hunger for? It's that, isn't it, that the Veda is all about and the sacrifice is about, and all of that is, I mean, we always approach Maya as if it's something to be done away with, and yet it's I mean, without it, where would the gods need that? They need to eat that, and we need the Maya in order to be able to sacrifice.
Let us go step by step. We will figure out, yeah? I'm sure we will. The point is here is that Vedic sacrifice was mainly of that the oneness was presumed and that the diversity was wanted, yes? Was sought after. They were seeking this diversity. They were interested in diversity more than in oneness.
Sure.
And that is not the case in our case. Our scenario is very different. We are seeking the oneness. We are not seeking the diversity.
No, we are bombarded by it.
Yeah, we are, and that is two different Mayas, yes? Two different approaches to one force from two different views. From above, where the oneness is maintained and from which the diversity is born, and how it is born and how it is being formed and sacrificed. What means in this case sacrifice is that the higher force and consciousness will be brought into all the diverse elements of the material manifestation, and vital and mental manifestation. They will all be charged with that presence. And that is how Vedic rishis mainly saw. And that is also the way of the ancient sacrifice, I think, of nature, where nature was the target, the aim of this sacrifice. But when the individual was formed and the evolutionary, so to say, soul came into existence, into our awareness, we started to think very differently about ourselves and the world. We became individualistic. We started to think that we are the center of the universe and everything rotates around us. And now this very force has to be overcome in a different way. Very different from that view from about down.
Sorry.
And no problem. And the same comprehension and the same containment and measuring out is within this force, within this creative consciousness, yeah? Which on one hand creates all the diversity and charges it with consciousness, giving it its individual consciousness, and from the other hand, this individual consciousness, now becoming aware, has to deal with everything else in a new fashion. It's kind of very logic in this way. Yeah? So I continue reading, I am kind of again anticipating as that professor at the end of this session. It is by Maya that static truth of essential being becomes ordered truth of active being. It is by Maya that static truth of essential being becomes ordered truth of active being. So it becomes, it lives, it becomes. It was only, now it becomes.
It becomes, or it is becoming?
Right, it is becoming. Yeah, I meant.
Well, because it's dynamic. It's in a constant state.
Right.
Not is, but it's.
Very nice. Thank you. Yes, it is becoming, all constantly becoming, and there is constant change in this dynamism of time and space, which this Maya presents the essential static being in a different form. Now, this Maya is a force of consciousness, yes? It views this static being in this way, views it, and it becomes that. Okay, becomes ordered truth of active being, or to put it in more metaphysical language, out of the supreme being in which all is all without barrier of separative consciousness, emerges the phenomenal being in which all is in each, and each is in all, for the play of existence with existence, consciousness with consciousness, force with force, delight with delight. This is actually, I don't know who better could explain than Sri Aurobindo. This is a supreme explanation. You know, when I think of any other explanation of Maya, it just doesn't come even close. So here, all in all is one type of being without a barrier of separative consciousness. Emerges the phenomenal being, and this is the definition of phenomenology. Those of you who studied it in philosophy, they know that that is what phenomenon is. Phenomenon is this view by consciousness of separated being, kind of believing in the image of things as a separate existent being. So this phenomenal being, which is believed to be true by consciousness, in which all is in each. That's why we are the center of the universe. And each is in all. That's why we can relate to everything in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
But we got already our separated consciousness. We already have our own each. We are separate from all. Though we are in all and all are in us, we have our own being, our own consciousness. And that is all done for the play of existence with existence, that they could meet. Consciousness with consciousness, that consciousness can meet itself. Force with force, that force can meet itself as if opposing it. Delight with delight. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So this play of all in each and each in all is concealed at first from us by the mental play of the illusion or the illusion of Maya, which persuades each that he is in all, but not all in him. This is the first persuasion. That he is in all, yes, I am in all, but not all are in me. I am something separate from them, something smaller. Can't be that I am the whole universe. I have my own center. I'm shrinking to my own center. I'm centered around my own problems. Yes, I may be in all, yeah, maybe, but not all are in me. This is the first illusion.
That's why you can go to a party and have a conversation with somebody where they just talk for half an hour about themselves and never even for a moment think that to ask about what are you thinking?
Yeah, they are not very much interested.
Not interested because all is in each, but not each is in all.
Right, and there is no time for everything. You know, you can't waste your time. You have to do your job. That's right.
It's always fun.
And what is interesting, I noticed that some people have an ability to speak without feeling uncomfortable that they are not heard. You know, they can talk and talk.
They're talking to themselves.
Right, they talk to you as if you listen to them, and you wonder, you just wonder what is going on.
Well, and that's what and really that I'm struggling with this so much in something right now. But that's where the spiritual work is. That's where, I mean, I feel like every time one of those particular kinds of controversies come up, I feel like I'm just born in that moment. I feel like I was just born for that, to figure that moment out where all is where each is in all.
Right.
Where this person's concern is coming to me because they are also me, and it's imperative for me to be able to recognize myself in that and to be able to experience that.
Right. It's actually not so easy to comprehend. Notice that this thing is very elusive. Yeah, it disappears very fast, and we are left with no meaning. So again, I kind of draw our attention to this, and we will break through, I'm sure. The illusion of Maya, which persuades first that persuades each that he is in all, but not all in him. That he is in all as a separate being, not as a being always inseparably one with the rest of existence. So here we have already the shape of another Maya, yes, which is making us totally separate from the rest. Now, if we can come to others and tell them about ourselves, that means we are separate, but we are still in them, and we want to communicate ourselves to them because they are we, they are us, and then we have to speak to them, but we don't care about them as separate beings. Yes, this is the first impulse of Maya, of illusion of separate being. Afterwards, we have to emerge from this error into the supramental play of the truth of Maya, where the each and the all coexist in an inseparable unity of the one truth and the multiple symbol. This is the most difficult concept in Sri Aurobindo, supramental truth, where each and all coexist in the inseparable unity. Inseparable unity, not oneness, not inseparable, undistinguished oneness. It is this unity where there is an exchange of consciousness and force is taking place.
So this unity is Mitra's harmony.
Right. This is his force. That friendly force of the supermind, which is making everything in unity and exchange of energy and consciousness and comprehension and force and being. That's why he's friend. Mitra is also friend.
Well, so is this what you and Rate just pointed to? There was some, I think you said something in the Puranic era or something where, forgive me if I've said the wrong time or whatever, but where there was a division where this Maya was considered, where the obliteration of the interchange between both Mayas came about, where it wasn't both aspects of consciousness were required in order. The Vedic vision, where both aspects of consciousness were required, the all and the each were both required, where they tried to eliminate the each by kind of overlaying it by saying the each doesn't exist anymore, it's nothing but the all.
Right. Not even the all, but something in the indistinguishable oneness, yes, beyond, into which we have to dissolve ourselves and finish this separate existence. Yes, it is that Mayavada, it's the culmination of that thought is in Mayavada, where Maya is considered to be an illusion of some kind, and not a creative force of this diversity, but rather an illusion of this diversity, yes, which has to be overcome. There is no truth behind it. There is only suffering behind it. But yeah, there is a lot of suffering in it, definitely, in this separating consciousness from the source, but it is not the whole thing. Somewhere Sri Aurobindo says very beautifully that if you compare why people don't want to die so easily, because there is much more delight in this world than the suffering, truly speaking. Even we never thought of it, but if you start thinking, truly speaking, there is much more delight than suffering, and the delight is very natural. You know, you get up in the morning, you make a coffee. It's all so beautiful. It's beautiful.
You guys both drink coffee, by the way? I was.
Oh yeah. I love my coffee. I don't know about Vladimir. Do you drink coffee, Vladimir?
Right, I do. Too much, because I have nothing else to do, only to drink coffee.
Nothing. Well, then you've arrived. You have nothing to do.
Unfortunately, yes, I have arrived. So here is what is interesting about that what Sri Aurobindo will say now. This is here you can see in the bold, the lower present and deluding mental Maya has first to be embraced, then to be overcome. For it is God's play with division and darkness and limitation, desire and strife and suffering, in which he subjects himself to the force that he has come out of himself. The force that has come out of himself, and by her obscure suffers himself to be obscured.
Something happened to the screen.
Right? You don't see, huh?
I see it.
I see it, but it got.
Okay, I will remove. I move it on one side because it is on 2 pages and it's not pleasant.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. No,
Now it is okay. So the lower present and diluting mental Maya, the lower, has first to be embraced, then to be overcome. For it is God's play with division and darkness and limitation, desire and strife and suffering, in which he subjects himself to the force that has come out of himself, and by her obscure suffers himself to be obscured. So the light meets the darkness. Yes, and that darkness obscures light, and the light becomes obscured. This is this involutionary movement.
It's not possible. It's not possible because, I mean, the minute that you have even the tiniest little spark of light, the darkness is obliterated.
Not totally.
I mean, you just light a match and the darkness is gone. I mean, it's still dark-ish, but it's not dark anymore. As soon as there's any little piece of light, it's its character to illumine.
Right. Yes, but still, there is a center of that light. It is not everywhere light. It is the center, and the light is distributing. It's a light, so to say, in this dark room, and there are dark corners, and there are, dark
Shadows.
Shadows and so on. So it is not totally so. If it would be so, it would be very easy and good for us. But unfortunately, it's not so. It's interactive. And this interaction creates all the shades of light. Yes, and because of these shades, we have separated being. Night is necessary to shade out these separate beings. So this is the kind of involutionary look. Then that other Maya conceals by this mental has to be overpassed, then embraced. It's another movement from below up. For it is God's play of the infinities of existence, the splendors of knowledge and glories of force mastered, and the ecstasies of love illimitable, where he emerges out of the hold of force, holds herself, hurls her instead, and fulfills in her, illumined, that for which she went out from him at the first.
That is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Radhe.
Oh no, it sounds like Sri Aurobindo.
It is Sri Aurobindo, yes. Actually, it's there is this 36 Live Divine, page 115.
Yeah.
Where the heck is it?
And although there is much more here to read, let us see. So there are two movements. One is the involutionary, other is evolutionary. In one sense, we have to, in the upper sense, we have to embrace him, everything as him, and thus overcome this illusion. And in other sense, we have to overpass this diversity and then embrace him in his creative force. Look how beautifully it is kind of presented. You see, it's not the same movement from both sides. In one sense, from our unborn self, we have to see that everything is divine, everything. There's nothing here which is not divine. Yeah? And that is the overcoming of involutionary Maya. That is the spiritual attitude which spiritual beings have. They look at everything as divine only, you know. The Irakshasas, Paishachas, they're also divine. And we exercised this view many times in our studies. And it brings us to very strange feeling or knowledge, yes, that we overcame the illusion of not knowing what it is, since everything is the divine. But it is not the whole thing. There is another part which has to deal with it differently, and that is our individual separated consciousness. It has to overcome all this diversity and come to the oneness. It has to accept only the divine and nothing else. So one is spiritual attitude, this first,
spiritual practice,
and the other is psychic attitude, which accepts nothing but the divine. So it will see all the imperfections, it will see all the inconsistencies, and it will seek for that final perfection. This is second one.
Can you define psychic again, psychic individual? I know you've done this before, but I continue to be confused.
Psychic is this created supreme in the individual form, so to say. It's the projection of unborn self into, which becomes an individual self here. And this what we feel ourselves, that we know ourselves as. I know myself as this being, so to say, separate being with separate supreme consciousness.
Okay.
So I am seeking the divine manifestation here. I want to see everywhere the perfection. I don't like this. I don't like lying. I don't like, these robbers. I don't like this. I don't like so many things. I can't accept the world as such. I will be seeking for the divine manifestation, and the world is far from that perfection. Far. And that is the second Maya. I have to overpass all this and come and embrace the divine. I have to grow into the consciousness of oneness. Whereas in other attitude of the spiritual kind, I accept everything as the divine already. And embracing all this as the divine, I overcome Maya. And both attitudes, though as they are so contradictory, are necessary for this yoga. Both.
Yeah. Well, they're both necessary in order for the divine to have the play that he originally desired.
Right.
For us to play out or engage or allow or to be part of that play so that it can be experienced by the divine.
Right. And what is interesting that both movements are true movements of consciousness, not just made, it's not a methodology to come to the truth. It is truth itself. One is dynamic, this from our self up, dynamism is everywhere. We will have to reject something which is not true and accept only which is true. And other, we have to accept everything as true already. And thus to overcome this illusion, confusion. And both have to be exercised simultaneously.
I was going to say that one seems to be a lot more functional than the other. One of those.
Absolutely. The second one is more functional, and it is what we all do. Yes, we are in the second
Natural.
one.
Well, that's what we all try to do.
Right. And when we hear somebody speaking that everything is the divine, we feel so good. We are ready nearly to melt into it, and because it is also part of the truth we have to have. So,
but this was one of my questions. What I found interesting is the second part, which sounds to me more like the lower mind, that is the dividing mind, right? The mind that is comparing and contrasting, and this is right and that is wrong. Here it is equated to being coming from within the heart. The second from within the heart. that judges what is divine and what is not divine, or compares and contrasts things. That coming from within the heart is what confused me, because to me that's the lower mind that is doing that.
You mean the second one, yeah?
The on page 30, number 2. Let's see, is yours the same? Oh, yours is different than mine.
Overcoming, you mean?
Yeah, yours is different than mine. Where you go, there are 2 movements, should have different metaphysical and psychological treatments, as if it were if one comes from the influence of Maya. So there it is. There it is, number 2.
This is my talking, yes? This is what I was kind of concluding with these studies, and I give many more kind of, These 2 movements, let us read, then we will know better. These 2 movements should have different metaphysical and psychological treatments, as it were, if one wants to overcome the influence of Maya. The first, from above the head, is to embrace all with a perfect equality and thus overcome influence of Maya in the mind. Right. The second, from within the heart, the psychic being, is to overcome all what is non-divine, and then to embrace the divine, aspiration for the divine embodiment. Yes. So what is your question again?
Well, to me, the second one, in which we are to overcome what is non-divine, where we are more focused on that which is divine versus not divine, the dividing mind.
Right.
Is what's telling me. And yet it speaks here, it references the heart. But I see what it's saying here is more the dividing mind that goes after and pursues and searches diligently for that which is only divine and not non-divine. It compares and contrasts. So the reference to the heart, I guess, is what confused me.
Right. Here, there is not so much done by the mind. It is a sense, an aspiration for the divine. And that aspiration can reject every mental construct, even very correct, because mind, it can be fooled. It's very easy to fool mind. It can be very perfect in its logic, but you can prove everything by the mind. It doesn't have that discriminative quality which the heart has. It is only in the heart that light which knows, which is seeking the true, authentic embodiment of the divine. It doesn't want some kind of seeming truth, and in that sense, this is an aspiration to. For example, very good example can be given on these 2 is maybe I was mentioning Ramakrishna already, and there was one Brahmin sannyasi who came with concubine to his ashram. You remember, yes? It's in the evening talks. And Ramakrishna was very furious. He said, "How dare you? You come here with this kind of prostitute to live in my ashram?" And he said, "Why you are so angry?" Brahmin to him. She is also Brahman. You are Brahman. This world is Brahman. Everything is spirit. Everything is the divine. Why are you so angry? And it's interesting, you see, and what he says. He says exactly that. He's overcoming Maya from another side.
Well, except that you can't confuse, orders of...
No, let me finish. The idea is beautiful. And then Ramakrishna, I didn't finish yet. Ramakrishna says, "I spit on your Vedanta." Spit. He never was so rude, Ramakrishna. But in this case, he was really angry. And this was brought to Sri Aurobindo, and they wanted his comments. And he says, yes, from the point of view of the spirit, the sannyasi was right. Everything is Brahman, and there is nothing to be angry. But Ramakrishna was judging from the heart, that which is seeking the divine, which wants only the divine. And so, you see, it's very different.
Okay, I think now I see why the heart is referenced instead of. Okay, I think I just got that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the heart knows the divine. It cannot be fooled by some, this that everything is a divine. Okay, everything is a divine, but I spit on your Vedanta from this view where I'm seeking the embodiment. I don't want you to tell me that in evolutionary sense, everything belongs to the divine and then do whatever you want here egoistically. No. And that is what happens usually when people justify by the divine everything they do, because since everything is the divine, what's the problem? I can be Rakshasa, I can kill people. It's the divine who kills people, and the divine enjoys killing and being killed. It's the divine. So what is there to do else? Nothing. So here, that correction, that correlative movement of the heart is necessary, yes, which changes the whole attitude. Yes, everything is the divine, but I want the divine embodied everywhere, in everything. And these two movements are conclusive, they are complementary. And by these two you can overcome Maya, not by one of them.
That's why, I mean, you wonder if that weren't true, then discernment and discrimination wouldn't be part of the practice. It wouldn't be that graha wouldn't be so required for spiritual work.
Right.
Sorry. I'll ignore it. Sorry.
But that discrimination is actually what's being used in the number 2, in the second one.
Right.
Because it isn't a mental thing.
Divine.
Discrimination is a very fine faculty.
But discrimination discriminates. It doesn't find the unity. It doesn't find the oneness. It discriminates. It's this, it's not that.
It overcomes.
Right. But that psychic in you is the divine. And the divine knows itself. You cannot fool it. You cannot say to it, look, it is so beautiful, it is divine. It would not believe it. It knows it because it is the divine. The psychic knows. And that's why Sri Aurobindo changed his yoga very considerably at the end. Before he was from over the head down, and then he changed towards this that from the heart first. He says the psychic has to be established first because it will make no mistakes. With this from above spiritual attitude, you can make millions of mistakes.
Yes.
You can justify all kind of strange things. You can be even build concentration camps.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Yes, it's exactly that.
That's exactly what happened to Adolf Hitler. Is that he was using all these Aryan principles of unity and everything, and purity and transformation and all of those things, and look what it ended up being.
Right, and look at this. What has happened to Russia and Soviet Union, Stalin's times? The same. The idealism of some kind, mental, applied to life brutally. Killing everyone and everything, destroying people, bringing fear, becoming totally asuric, because of no faculty in the heart, discriminating individual divine. This is so important, the development of individual and individual consciousness. Without it, there is nothing much for us to do. There is no hope. These forces are stronger than we. Those dark forces, they will take over. But the psychic can really bring that discriminatory element, and we can see then what is what, and we can overcome Maya.
But at some point, you have to move beyond discrimination. To me, either, it's like you said, you need both. You can't just have one. The second can be equally destructive as the first, constantly discriminating against things. This judging, this is not divine, but this is. That isn't, but this is. And never getting to the higher point, to the harmony.
Very nice, yeah, what you say. Actually, this question is discussed in Sri Aurobindo's Letters on Yoga, especially because there were questions about it. If we are talking about the mind, critical mind, yes, it's very, very critical and destructive for ourselves and the world. And we can see what this critical mind created, yeah? Very destructive civilization for our nature. But the psychic is very different from this critical mind, very different. It is not the same. It's not the same criticism.
The psychic includes the soul nature.
Right. It is the soul. It is our divine soul. It is that projection of that soul within ourselves. That which is now present in this manifestation, that which reincarnates here. Yes, and it has a capacity to see things and to know them. Even then, Sri Aurobindo says, psychic can make mistakes. You know why? And he says, because it was associated with the humans for too long.
Yes, it's held hostage by humans.
Right, and it learned from them all these tricks of the mind, you know. But in principle, it cannot be fooled. You cannot present to the psychic non-divine and say that this is it. You know, it will see it. Okay, now why all this so long? Because in hymn to Mitra, which I'm now going to project, we will see something interesting. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Right, let us go through it. So it is Vishwamitra from third mandala, hymn 59, closer to the end. Let us read verse by verse. Mitro janan yatayati bruvanach, mitro dadhara prithivim utadyam, mitrach krishtich animisha bhichaste, mitraya havyam ghritavat juhota. I can recognize already the language of Vishwamitra. Very direct, simple, and very clear what he wants to say. Not much of imagery around. Kshatriya mentality. Mitra as the expression of the divine consciousness, it's me who is adding it, because I wanted us to keep this in mind, yes? As the expression of the divine consciousness makes all beings born in the physical body aspire. It makes everyone aspire. We could say that he inspires, yes, everyone. But it is not that. He moves everyone. He makes everybody moved by something, yeah? Inspired. Aspiring for something. Inspired is a wrong word. That's why I didn't choose it. Inspired means something else.
Aspired.
But, yeah, he makes everybody aspiring. So yatayati. Yatayati is causative from yatate, to aspire. He causes everyone to aspire. Bruvanach. So to say, express, as the expression of the divine consciousness, I chose as bruvana, speaking. Speaking is expressing oneself, expressing that consciousness. Mitra as the divine consciousness holds together heaven, spirit, and earth nature. Dadhara prithivim utadyam. When we take Prithvi and Dyauh in the highest sense, Dyauh is then the spirit, the father, and Prithvi is the mother. Yes, the material, the nature. And both are held by him. Also important because that is the force of Maya, which actually manifests all these beings in nature, yes? Separates them, shapes them, gives them consciousness and comprehension. Mitra, as the divine consciousness, oversees, perceives uninterruptedly all the beings engaged in the laborious sacrifice. Mitra krishtich animisha bhichakshe, abhichakshe. Oh, sorry, abhichashte. Root is chaksh. Abhichakshe will be perfect, but abhichashte will be the Atmanepadam, second class. Mitraya havyam ghritavat juhota. It is to Mitra that you should bring the offering of purified mentality. So you have to overcome Maya by bringing this purified mentality as offering to Mitra. Yes, the third line is important. Uninterruptedly he oversees all the beings engaged in this laborious sacrifice. Why I say all these beings engaged in the laborious sacrifice is only one word, krishtich. And krishti is from root krish, to actually plow, yeah? to plow the soil.
So is it like, is it that Mitra is the one when you're struggling with something and trying to overcome the restriction of your, or the limitation of your individuality from the wholeness, that he's the one, or she's the one, who recognizes your effort and supports you in that. He recognizes that you're actually reaching for something and trying and rewards that with the bliss of consciousness coming up.
Right.
Maybe.
Right. Rewards, it is within ourselves. Yes, it is the cause of us being shaped in this particular format and with this particular consciousness and perception. It holds our outer being and our inner being together. It uninterruptedly attends to all our movements of sacrifice. It is never leaving us out of the sight. It is always attending, always comprehending, always knowing what is going on.
This word that you chose, uninterruptedly, and I look at Griffith's translation below, although it may not tie exactly, but Mitra beholdeth men with eyes that close not. This saying about Mitra holds true throughout the Brahmanas and the Yajurveda, and that's this concept of uninterruptedly. They either say his eyes close not, or put it another way, he never winks. So they're steady, constant.
Never wakes.
Never winks. Never closes his eyes. Winks. Yeah.
He doesn't wink. Yeah.
He doesn't wink. It's uninterrupted perception or consciousness.
Right. But Krishti, actually there are 5 Krishtis, there are 5 people. So Charshani or Krishti, and Charshani will be used in the next verse. It is those laborious peoples. There were 5 races on earth mentioned. They're all named Aryan races, which were engaged in this sacrifice to embody the divine, to manifest the divine in nature. So they are laboriously working, and he is supplying his uninterrupted attention to that labor. yeah, to that transformatory process. Those of you who had this experience, maybe this of uninterrupted consciousness, they can really know what it is. It is. It can be achieved.
Sure.
You can be day and night in this attention of this consciousness. You can't stop it by sleeping. Also, it is there all the time watching. There is a witness who is all the time there, present, watching what is happening. If your mind is focused on it and notices it, it is very tiring for the embodied mind. Yeah? Very tiring. It can ask for please don't anymore, because you can't sleep, and so on and so forth. So then you want to forget yourself. You want to fall into oblivion and sleep finally, rest, for the physical. Physical is very imperfect instrument in that sense. It cannot handle this total uninterrupted attention.
Oh, I understand this so well.
Yeah, and in the relation to the second verse, prasa mitra marto astu prayasvan yaste aditya shikshati vratena nahanyate najiyate tvota nainam angho ashnoti antitach nadurat.
There.
May he be moving forward. Literally, praastu. May he be forward. Yeah, I put moving because to be forward sounds a bit, but could be. May he be forward, O Mitra, who by being mortal, Martach, learns according to your law, Shikshati, or Aditya. Yes, here there is one word which I didn't comment. I do not know why I didn't leave it. Yes, I just forgot to put this prayasvan. Prayasvan is.
Can you see that, Rati?
I'm looking at my copy.
I see.
You don't see. Oh my God! 1 second.
Well, I do see it when I look up, but I do notice, like, probably Julia is experiencing that sometimes there's, that gap, that overlap stuff.
Okay, now you should see.
It's okay. We see it fine.
Yeah, yeah. And you please tell me. I can always refresh. The prayasvan can have two meanings. Actually, prayas is from root prai, to move forward, to be laborious, to be aspiring, to be moving, or to be loving, the one who brings love. And I think this is good. Not the food who brings the food, as Griffith says, but who, may he be forward, O Mitra, who brings adoration, who adores you. And by being mortal, learns according to your law, according to your being, according to your law is law again. Vrata is from root vrit, to rotate, according to your way of doing things. Yes,
laws of nature.
Yes, and that is the law. And
wow.
Yes, he who is supported by you, tvota, cannot be killed, nahanyate, or conquered, najiyate. And narrowness should be from capital. It's like and the narrowness.
Boundaries.
Holds him neither near nor far. So yes. This amhas is that, that unconscious being below. Amhas, from here we have Ahi, the snake, yeah, of the deep, that python which is tying us up, suffocating us, yeah, where there is no space for our consciousness to breathe. There is no life sustaining there. So that amhas is that suppression, narrowing down our vast consciousness.
Is that the same as amsha, or from the same root as amsha?
No, amsha is from another root to share, but and from here there are many words, aghas, which is a sin, but all related to this narrowness of being and consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Is it by invoking, by using the word aditya, they're obviously invoking something to do with his family and
Right. He is
and
Aditya.
his mother and
Right.
that kind of nourishing quality.
Well, the adityas protect the universal law. So as a guardian or protector of light,
Right.
this is Mitra as an aditya.
Right. They are the faculties of the Divine Mother. Basically, it is Aditi herself acting in a particular format, which we call Mitra, Varuna, and so on. Yes? It is her action of the creative force or the Divine Mother, which manifests the divine in this form of the universe.
And it's like Radhe just said. He is supported by Aditya, can't be killed or conquered because it's protected. It's absolutely completely protected by that
right.
purity of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. But something else is meant by cannot be killed or...
Yeah, I meant it a little different. I meant it more, and maybe this is what you're saying, Julia, but the adityas are guardians or protectors of the light. And so in that way, they guard the light so that the light or the truth cannot be harmed, cannot be...
It couldn't say it any more clearly than it says it here. It's so beautiful. He who is supported by you cannot be killed or conquered. It's
Well, there he is the individual, right? Is a sacrificer.
Right. The one who comes with love, Prayasvan, who comes with this adoration of this divine consciousness. May he be forward, move forward, and learn the ways you deal with the world. Yes.
So this food, he who brings the food, I know you translated it differently, but the food in the prior verse is Grita. He who offers Grita as an offering is, the food, the sacrifice, right? So food still ties to what was said before, to the previous verse. No?
Yes.
Bringing offering of purified mentality, Grita. And here it is, he who brings that, he who brings this food, he who brings that purified mentality, or Grita.
Right. I'm translating literally prayas as from root pri to love, yes? And
yeah, it works both ways was my only comment.
Yeah. And it can be, I think Griffiths many times follows Sayana, who was, truly speaking, didn't know how to reconcile between the meanings. So he wanted to have one coherent, kind of hymn. And many times he translates the same term in different ways. It was mentioned already by many that, for example, rhythm he can translate as water and then food and then the truth in the same hymn. No, because he doesn't have a way to put it together. Doesn't come together. And Sayana, when we say Sayana, we mean the whole school of Brahmins there sitting. It wasn't one being who were translating different hymns, commenting. So I'm not sure about food. Doesn't come to me. It doesn't ring a bell at all. Who brings the food? Yeah.
Well, the nourishment. Who brings the love? Love is nourishment.
All right. You're right. All right.
And another thing that occurs to me in that same regard is he who is supported by you cannot be killed or conquered, and the narrowness holds him neither near nor far. And what is it that can't be killed or conquered? Unity. I mean, in duality, there is a possibility. There's a knower and a known. There's a killer and a killed. There's a conqueror and that is duality. Duality is that which can be killed and conquered, and is near and far. But when Mitra adores you, there can't be a duality there, and therefore you have that invincibility that is brought about by unity of consciousness. And so they're describing the movement. I mean, the Vishwamitra is describing the movement of consciousness from duality to unity. He's describing, this whole verse just lays out the progress of consciousness unfolding by the means of the adoration of Mitra, which is, as you pointed out earlier, Vladimir, is nothing but the self, but yourself unfolding the unified value to itself.
Yeah. And this is what when you were talking, I saw also that tuoto, it is supported by you. If we kind of unfold that, uta is from root u, from which av is avatumam, yes, in our mantra. Av and u has a meaning, very particular meaning. The support is like an increase of the being from within. Yeah? So the one who is increased by you from within cannot be killed. So he enters you from within, grows within you. And that one cannot be killed and conquered, because it is you who is inside, the being. It is Mitra who is inside growing.
It is consciousness that's inside.
Right, exactly. That consciousness, divine.
What can't be killed or conquered is one where there is no enemy, because it's not any different from you.
Right, but still there is amhas, there is this narrowness, this kind of infinite darkness which is narrowing the light to the complete disappearance. And that amhas cannot, how to say, also here I said, holds him neither near nor far. Holds, it's again, it's approximate, it felt right, but ashnoti is enjoys, eats. Reaches, enjoys, eats. These three meanings cannot reach you, neither from far nor from near, because you are full of that divine consciousness.
Support, the divine support.
Right.
You can't. There's. Yeah, it's a consciousness thing, I think, because it's not that you might be in battle and you might be killed, or you might be engaged in the world, and it's near or far, but it's not your experience, because you're being supported, or you're Mitra, that bliss of consciousness is overriding everything.
Right. Your body definitely can be killed, but your consciousness cannot be touched. Somebody was answering very beautifully about Krishnamurti. I remember somebody said that, of course, answering someone's objection that Krishnamurti is not immortal or something, it's just normal man. And the answer was very beautiful, I still remember. Of course, you can kill his body, but you will not change his consciousness. So even if he goes, he will go what he was. You will not change that. So the same here. That thing cannot be destroyed because it is of the divine consciousness. Yes, And it's not only support, it's a growth of consciousness within. It's not support from above or from away, some far away, as you know, just I will give you some support and look after you. It's I am within you, I'm growing inside you. So in that sense, it is a total protection.